Hello there, and a very warm welcome to another edition of Channels Beam. I am Victor Matthias. Now, as Nigeria is still reeling from the Boko Haram insurgency and its numerous atrocities, the country unfortunately also plays host to another group as yet unrecognized as a terror group. The group has wreaked havoc acknowledged by the global community and has been named the fourth deadliest terror group in the world by the Global Terrorism Index. And that will be our focus on the program today. But before then, let's take a look at the trending topics in the past week in the social cyberspace. President Muhammadu Buhari finally signed the 2016 budget after claims and counterclaims by both the legislature and executive arms of government accusing each other of padding the budget. Against a 5,001 odds, Leicester City proved bookmakers wrong to embarrass big spending clubs like Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, Manchester City and Liverpool by winning the world's richest soccer league with a squad largely made up of bargain buys and players cast up by these so-called bigger clubs. Well, those were some of the major trends in the past week. However, now joining me to look at this issue is first an Africa and Middle East public policy and security expert, Mukhtar and Ian. Thanks for coming on the program.
The pleasure is all mine.
We also have the CEO of CMAPIT, a geocoding startup that is opening up local communities for technological, innovation, Mr. Ni Abiri. Thanks for coming on the program as well.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Niabiri, let me just start with you now. How do you react to these attacks being carried out by suspected herdsmen in the country?
This particular attack had some sort of historical touch. That's one. Then two, it's spreading a lot. And the third part is, I think it's something that has gone out of hand, considering the fact that herdsmen they create their own routes. That's one part. Then the other part is, I think their own movement or patterns of movement is what our local authorities or local security agencies cannot even understand. Realize that there are spreads of their existence in Southwest, and at the same time too, considering the havoc in quote that's been committed in the North Central, we realize that the proximity to or there's a pattern that sort of connects everything to the Northeast. So where my own fear came in is the potentials where the routes that has been created by these attacks or these guys from their movement, I think it creates channels for potential insurgency. So I think from the interview I had last year with you, it was obvious that, or I stated that this was something that was building up. This is a channel that is building up for bigger insurgency that Boko Haram, one way or the other, could sort of penetrate through. You get, so that was my own fears until this started happening. But one way or the other, not like I have links between anything. I'm trying to state that there's a relationship between both, but at the same time, I understand that I think we have bigger issues at hand, and at the same time, too, this new surge in attack and out of hand. Then coming back to my own environment here, which is or my own state here, which is a Yoruba state. Had similar experiences moving through Okyogun. Okyogun is where the Fulanis are. They have lots of communities. They've been there for decades, actually.
One thing we do know is a lot of those camps have a lot of people in them. And two things happen. One, those camps need to be sustained. In other words, the people there need to eat. So as a result, what they do is they rustle cattle and they destroy communities. So from a survival perspective, that's that's to be expected. The other challenge is from an ideological perspective. Unfortunately, one of their objectives is to wipe out Christian populations. If we look back to what was happening in places like even Jos, which is in the north central, at the beginning of the whole challenge with Boko Haram, even before the name actually came into the mainstream, one of the things they were doing actively was going in and wiping out Christian communities. In fact, the atrocities that they are doing now, thankfully, are not as bad as what was happening then, where they would actually lock Christians up in churches and set the whole place ablaze. So the point is, the people who are committing atrocities in the North Central, yes, there are those who are outright criminals. There are people such as cattle rustlers. There are professional troublemakers. There are also armed robbers. But I think the main group of people, the people who are providing the arms, the people who are providing the ammunition, the people who are providing the technical know-how on how to sack a municipality, are people who obviously have some level of military / paramilitary / battle experience. And I think those people, unfortunately, come from the ranks of Boko Haram.
Now, let's just take a look at the tolerance level in the past and what is obtainable now. Mukhtar, what do you think has changed so far?
I grew up in Lagos, even back in the early 80s. I remember vividly traffic being stopped because a group of herdsmen and their cows are crossing the road. Now, it's interesting. I grew up on Lagos. One of the places I grew up on was Lagos mainland in Amukoko. And over there's actually a place called, in that vicinity, a place called Malu Road. So you can understand, Malu is basically cows. So over there, you will see them pretty much every day. Cows, at times, hundreds of cows going back and forth and back. So in terms of a cohabitative existence between Fulani herdsmen, their cows, and local communities, the system we currently have isn't working. But to label those people maniacs who go into communities just to kill people and rustle cattle and steal supplies, I think that's an easy way out.
All right, just hold that thought for a minute. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back shortly. Please join us again.